Jack is living a modest life. Being a single limousine driver in New York, his life consists of sleep, work, and reggae music that doesn't really match his current level of life energy. Speaking with his best friend Clyde, in the opening scene, he is seen as a shy, awkward man. The conversation is about a certain someone named Connie. She is a friend of Clyde's wife, and by the sound of it, she is willing to go on a blind date. They can set it up, and Jack's loneliness might be tackled if everything works out well. Throughout the scene, Jack keeps smiling, but we can't help but notice a great sadness lurking in his expression. What a full-fledged Rastaman. Throughout that day, as Clyde and Jack drive wealthy people around New York, they spectate as people drain countless bucks to dress for success. Meanwhile, Connie learns about Jack as well. Following her through her ordinary workday, we are assured that her lifestyle is not much different from Jack's. Working without inner motivation, a black expression reigns over her face as she gets back home. Just before the big event even happens, Jack goes through his clothes and realizes he has nothing. Disappointed in himself, he goes outside, faces an elaborate exposition suit, and tells himself that he should too dress for success. Tonight is his night. Unfortunately, this level of attitude doesn't really come to terms with his wallet. Sitting face to face with Connie in the next scene, Jack's outfit is as awkward as his personality. Clyde is there too, and together, the two are listening to Connie go on and on about the most unusual way of dying. She is telling a story about how her father died, and the way in which she shares this information, and the content and weight of the information itself, clearly doesn't fit the situation. This is why Jack almost suffocates while saying, "Yeah and wow." He has no idea how to respond, and frankly, nobody would. The girl is oversharing something extremely heavy, yet comical, and Jack wants to attune to her, but unfortunately, something just doesn't click. Once the story is over and Connie's blind mother is also mentioned, she excuses herself and remains in the bathroom, breathing heavily, until Lucy comes home too. While walking together outside later that day, Jack and Connie talk about boating. As snowflakes melt on their faces, they want to imagine nice weather in a calm lake. This is a good thing to look forward to. When the taxi is coughing, Connie gets down, then abruptly leans back, kisses Jack on the cheek, and drives away. The date was fantastic. Returning to his friends, Jack tells them about boating. The date seems to be set, but there are two big problems. It is set 6 months from now, and additionally, Jack doesn't know how to swim. Clyde can't do anything about time, but what he can do is teach his good friend how to swim. Connie is a sales operator working for a man named Bob, who conducts seminars about grief. Lucy is her manager, and she does everything to help the girl out, but Connie just cannot get a hang of the traditional combination of words. "Give me the credit card." Speaking of not getting the hang of something, Jack tries to get accustomed to the water. In order to tackle his fear of drowning, he has to go underwater, blow bubbles, and go up again, but he needs a lot of attempts to finally do it right. Still, he manages to do it, and it's a great accomplishment. The next morning, before going to work, Lucy says that she will soon have to fire Connie if she continues to perform poorly. It is a shame since both Jack and Connie could use some good additions to their shallow lives. Perhaps when saying this, she means that she could use some additions as well. When she gets to her office, she sees, to her surprise, that Connie is already there, trying her best to close her first sale. What is even more surprising, however, is the fact that she is covered in blood. Coughing uncontrollably, she doesn't pay any heed to the terrible condition she is in. And honestly, it is quite comical to see her devotion. As it seems, she was attacked in a subway, but no severed lung can stand in her way of professional success. As Lucy calls the ambulance, she manages to close the deal. There will be no need to fire her now, but she will surely have to go to the hospital. Bringing the creepiest present along, Jack appears in the clinic holding a toy koala bear in the next scene. The more you look at it, the more you find it adorable though. Let's just hope that the girl thinks this way too. As Jack is left alone in the lobby, a great deal of sadness is written on his face. His life as he knew it should be over, and to live a life he's accustomed to isn't something he wants to do anymore. What it will probably take, however, will be close to the devotion Connie showed earlier today when closing her first deal. Very soon the koala bear is handed over to the girl. She likes the stuffed toy, and thankfully, she also likes the idea of doing something with Jack before summer. As Jack offers, they could have a big feast together and eat too much of everything. Unusually enough, tears start gathering up in Connie's eyes. A strange feeling bubbles up and gets stuck in her throat. Nobody has offered her such a thing before. Nobody other than her mom has cooked for her. Thinking about the upcoming dinner party makes Connie feel much better, but the memory of the attack at the subway must be dissipated somehow. This is why Jack takes off his earphones, hands them over to Connie, and puts on a positive reggae song. The words themselves are not important. It is the vibe of the music that seems to have healing powers. In this moment of just a tiny bit of awkwardness, Connie feels unusually close to Jack. Tears come to her eyes as the reggae strikes cheerful, warm, and kind chords in her heart. If you think about it, those adjectives describe Jack quite well as well. Perhaps he truly does have the intention of becoming a Rastaman. As always, there are two problems with the upcoming dinner date. The first is that the future Rastaman doesn't know how to cook. And the second one is that he lives in his uncle's basement and has no kitchen. He will have to learn how to cook and invite Connie to Clyde and Lucy's apartment. Speaking about it with Clyde in a diner that night, Jack receives a recommendation. As it seems, there is a cook in the area by the nickname Canoli. He can teach Jack how to cook. This is probably great news. The dinner is in a month, so the man will have some time to do everything on time. Unfortunately, however, this isn't how this night ends. As it turns out, Clyde has been carrying enormous baggage with him throughout this time, and now he feels an urge to get free from it. Sharing his load with his best friend, he unpacks his struggles bit by bit and reveals the truth to Jack. Unfortunately, as it seems, Lucy has been cheating on him for 2 years, with no one other than this Canoli person. There have been other guys in her life as well, but after learning it, Clyde seems to have decided to stick with the relationship anyway. As a result, the recurring vivid images are haunting him day and night. They emerge in his imagination without any conscious intention, and they eat his heart out from inside. There is no wonder he had to share it with somebody he loves and trusts. Jack's perspective on this is also interesting. He is just beginning to set foot into the realm of relationships, and if this is what they are like, he should definitely tread lightly. He will not have to do it with Connie, however. In the next scene, they are discussing the movie they saw together in front of Connie's place. The girl says that she should invite him up, but her place is a mess, so she will have to do it some other time. It is clear that they have gradually gotten used to each other. After the little goodnight kiss, Jack is assured that everything is going perfectly. That night, while Jack is having the time of his life, his best friend is tackling his demons. Making a stop at an exclusive hotel, he goes into a men's room, prepares himself for an important face-off, and slowly gets out into the main hall. Here, the people in service might look pitiful to some, but not to Clyde. All he can see is a cook by the name of Canoli, gliding through the air excitedly and ascending stairs that go towards another department of the hall. The man looks despicable. Wearing a long cooking hat, he holds his hands behind his waist. We can be assured that there is no rattan inside his cooking attire. No rat would disgrace itself by touching the hair of such a man. In this tense moment, Clyde fails to confront him. Unusually enough, the desire to cook for Connie is so strong for Jack that he decides to take cooking lessons from Canoli. In communication with the future cook, the man doesn't seem that terrible at all. And so for the 2 upcoming dates, Jack continues to learn 2 new skills: cooking and swimming. Soon, he puts in an application for another job too, and starts looking towards improving himself for a better life. Speaking of improvement, Connie has become significantly more proficient in her job. Perhaps this is why she starts receiving special attention from her boss. The term special attention isn't quite right for this situation, however. Bob is clearly going over the line with where he is putting his hands. He is definitely a creep. Later that night, Clyde is watching a basketball game while Lucy prepares herself for bed. To say it more precisely, Clyde is looking at a basketball game. His mind is clearly elsewhere, as Lucy starts discussing the incident that happened with Bob and Connie earlier that day. An idea appears in Clyde's mind. An idea of a role play, and a chance to revive passion and heat in his relationship. Following the flow of the conversation, he tries to slow down the pace and make it heavier. Walking ambivalently, he invites his wife to reenact the situation that happened at the office today. But unfortunately, his attempt proves to be futile. The passionate side of his relationship seems to be forever gone. The two are freezing, and the fact that Lucy is wearing only underwear has nothing to do with it. In the next scene, Clyde starts falling for his teacher. Sensing no warmth from his relationship, he is clearly beginning to look for it somewhere else. Meanwhile, Jack and Lucy are purchasing ingredients for Jack's first practice dinner. Naturally, the subject of cannoli comes up, and the man is forced to spill the beans. As a result, Lucy finds out all about the fact that Clyde told Jack everything about the cheating. The woman is understandably upset. As Jack tries his best to change the subject and not make any further comments about this matter, Lucy adds a few drops of new information to his understanding of this situation. As it turns out, Clyde has immersed himself in an act of infidelity as well. He isn't a saint either. Still, as Lucy says, The couple has worked through it. When two people live with one another for a long time, difficult things are destined to come up. Speaking of difficult things, Jack and Connie find themselves lonely in her house in the next scene. Being under the influence of future intimacy, they look at the bed that is about to be messed up. Anxiousness is painted on both faces. Flashing forward in time, we get back to them when everything is already over. By the look of it, it unfortunately didn't work out. Facing the wall, Jack listens to Connie, trying to explain to him that he's not at fault. As it turns out, she has issues with intimacy, and she is truly looking forward to having sex with Jack, but it is impossible for her at this moment. Jack really shouldn't blame himself for this, but it is really difficult to find cheerfulness in such a situation. Being under the effect of the passion that didn't find its way, he puts on his shirt, probably in an attempt to leave, but Connie invites him back to bed. She likes the way he touches her, gentle and careful. He truly is a great guy, and she wants to know how to make him happy, how to get close to the image of a perfect woman that's inside his head. Very soon, the two engage in an extremely intimate conversation. When they learn about what they are looking for in a partner, they receive a level of closeness and transparency that sex could have never brought to them. That's right, who needs orgasms? As time flows on and both try to develop the best parts of themselves, the couple looks forward to the summer. Standing in front of a winter landscape, Connie imagines green leaves and flying kites in the sunlight. Warmth comes over her in those moments. Both the present and the future are as desirable as ever. Jack is also living for the two upcoming dates. Immersing himself fully in preparations, he masters both cooking and swimming. Meanwhile, the relationship between Lucy and Clyde sees no advancement. Even more, while attending one of Canoli's lessons, Jack is there when Lucy calls the cook on the phone. Naturally, he feels extremely awkward in this situation. Being a good friend, he gets the sense that he's morally responsible for dipping Canoli's phone into hot sauce. But unfortunately, he does nothing. With this comes the first big event. All are looking forward to the dinner, and all are excited other than Clyde. After learning about the call that took place between his wife and Canoli, his mind is overworked by images of another possible infidelity. Explosive and unpredictable, he drinks too much and goes outside for a walk around the block to get his appetite going. He runs into Connie in the streets. Based on what Connie says about him when she comes up, Jack realizes that he's not okay at all. As it turns out, he gave Connie a few awkward compliments, gave her a hug, and walked out somewhere in a rush. As the girl asserts, he seemed a bit upset about something. Perhaps he acted with a little over-familiarity as well. In short, Clyde's a mess, and we should expect a great deal of trouble from him. This conversation between Jack and Connie is not awkward at all. It is true that the atmosphere is silent and awkward around them, but it should be mentioned that this awkwardness isn't heavy at all. Soon, as Lucy brings out a hookah into the living room, Clyde comes in, as if he were entering an enormous celebration. The man is walking with excitement. Being pumped up and inspired, he acts in an almost manic way and proposes a smoke toast. His positive attitude is quick to be transmitted to everyone else. Very soon, after Jack and Connie's toast is made, conversations start flowing around the table, and even though there is no reggae song playing in the room, the air around them is trembling with friendliness and warmth. It is all just perfect, but as it often happens, trouble is brewing in paradise when nobody is expecting it. In a few minutes, the smoke alarm goes off, and Jack realizes he has burned everything. The entire dinner is ruined, and the flames are licking their food. Connie's words when she says that nobody has cooked for her are stomping on Jack's mind, and he loses his temper completely. After breaking everything in the kitchen and letting out all his uncontrollable and irresistible rage, he locks himself in the bathroom. He fails to hear anything. The girl of his dreams is just outside, trying to make him calm down, but his ears are ringing in a way that prevents him from understanding anything other than the pain he is feeling. Thankfully, all his friends soon gather behind the locked door, and with the help of a certain reggae song, they manage to put a seed of hope in Jack's mind. The night can still be saved. As the positive vibes bring bittersweet tears to his eyes, Jack opens the door. He is left alone with Connie, and after realizing that everything is all right, he sees his best friend sniffing something from the table. The fun of the night isn't over yet, and all will be well. Nobody knows this yet, but it is a shame that they are just beginning to ascend the biggest slope of the emotional roller coaster this night is offering them. Once the full-fledged Rastaman is called upon from the depths of Jack's awkward personality, the party continues. Lucy and Clyde seem to be in a great mood, but Connie spends far too much time in front of the bathroom mirror. Lines disappear one after another, and as it often happens, a paranoid moment disrupts the peace of the artificial paradise that has been created. It is obvious out of the bat. Nobody will have any appetite tonight. This is especially comical because one of the best cooks in New York is knocking on the door. As it turns out, Clyde has called him to join the party. All hell has broken loose. Immediately after realizing what he has done, Clyde loses his mind. Having no idea how to navigate through this situation, he asks everybody to remain quiet after the man at the door leaves on his own. But Lucy wants to see who it is. She will surely be thrilled to see it. What happens next can't be fully described in words. The hatred and loathing, the need to be understood, and the need to break free from the pain that is brewing inside the heart are mixed as the married couple fights over the thing that Clyde did. He had the motivation to do it. He wanted to seem normal, to show that he's okay, and that he's moved on from what has happened in his relationship. This is why he called Canoli, to prove to everybody, including himself, that the recurring images of his wife and the cook are no longer tormenting him in his sleep. This is a lie, of course. He knows he's wrong. He knows that his actions have no justification, but there is nothing he can say to make the situation any better now. Lucy's rage could melt a stone, let alone the heart of a messed up individual. Belittling and berating her husband in the most cruel way possible, she breaks it to him that he doesn't know everything about her acts of infidelity. The moment is so heavy that it could extinct a whole generation of species if it hit the earth at high velocity. This is why this time, the reggae song doesn't work. In fact, it makes everything even worse. Over the sound of the most positive music ever, Jack and Connie leave the apartment. The night is just perfect. There is an unbearable silence in the taxi afterward. Connie and Jack need a hug afterward. Being at the beginning of the road, they do not want to meet the kind of end that they saw a few minutes ago. With them, it will never happen. Embracing each other, they feel an immeasurable amount of safety in each other's arms. Until this moment, Connie has been waiting for the summer to tackle her fear of intimacy, but now she thinks that perhaps the time has already come. If her love overcomes her, if he doesn't hurt her, she knows she can do it. She wants to do it if Jack overcomes her. This moment of sweet embrace slowly becomes filled with excited anticipation. Their hearts begin to work more rapidly, and their lungs try to catch up as Jack agrees. After a long moment of silent contact, he grabs her, throws her up in the air, and dashes towards the bed. After tonight, a chain of positive events changes his life. His application for a new job is accepted, and over the foundation of his new relationship, the construction of the firm's skyscraper begins. In short, Jack goes boating. Our story, however, still ends in a bittersweet way. Clyde and Lucy are understandably separated. Jack's best friend will have to let his past go.